Guys, welcome to the podcast Below the Belt. It's good to have so many of you joining us today. We love being here with you guys. We love being here with you guys. You guys make the day what it is. Just showing up here and seeing you guys out there on social media really and truly swells our heart. We are hopeful that you have gotten something proper to eat for lunch. You all know for us, the place is the palette. That little caravan just off of the main road on Agriculture Road. That little, I think it's a yellow caravan. We get all our foods from them. It's called the Palette. They got some wonderful menu on a daily basis. The number there is 649 50 52 649 50 52 649 50 52. That is the number there. But for those of you who are joining us from the diaspora, we hope that you've gotten something close to you. Chevron McDonald is watching us from Florida. I see Lizzie Simon has joined us as well. And Cameron, Augustus, Alexis, Arthur, all the usual suspects are here. Amel Farrington, I see Cameron, Augustus, as we said. Denise Mitchell is here as well. Guys, how is the weather where you are, and what are you guys having for lunch where you guys are? I see someone is joining us from New Jersey among the folks who are with us this afternoon. Michael Gitchen says it's cold in New Jersey, and he is at work. Good to see you there, Michael, nonetheless. Marsha Glasgow is with us as well. Amel Farrington is here too. Lizzie Simon, all the usual suspects are here. Folks, as you come, we always ask you guys to share the live stream. Tessa Isaacs Gravesand is here as well. Patricia Gravesandi Goodman is here as well. All the Gravesandis are here apparently. Yvonne McPherson, Lynette Zephyr is here as well. Lynette, good to see you. Lynette is one of our foundation members, and we're happy to have her. Folks, let us know how you're hearing us. If you're hearing us clearly, Utindi Grant is here too, and she says, congratulations. I'm certain that goes out to our guest today, Vince Roy Jordan. She says, congratulations. And today we're talking about the destructive PPP, how they're destroying the guardrails of our democracy. Folks, all I want for Christmas is to see the backs of the PPP, to see them out of office. Whenever that comes, that's Christmas for me. Oh, who can give me the? Who can give me the? Norton, your name calling, Aubrey Norton. That's what we want for Christmas. We want to see the backs of the PPP. We have quite a few folks joining us. Lynette Zephyr again has been with us long before there was ever in the ring, ever below the belt. She's been here long before all of that. Steve Esteban, good to see you, Steve Esteban West, and Bernadette Lewis, and again, Maureen Coppin Williams, and Kanaya Mingo is here with us. Tessa Lane Eastman, Andrew Cuthbert is here. Mark Allman, all of our favorite folks are on the podcast, and we're happy so many more of you are joining. I see Sundar Singh is here. He says he's live and direct from Canada. Sundar, good to see you there. Beatrice Selby says good day to all. She's on board. Marla Karen Pandey, good to see you, Marla. Marla, she's watching from Carmichael Street, Georgetown, and Carmichael Street is where Scotiabank is. I don't know if she's joining us from Scotiabank. Marla, if you do join us from Scotiabank, we need some of the money, Marla. We need some of the money. Ron Sultan is here as well. We have Delon Gravesandi. All the Gravesandis watching like his family reunion today below the belt. Good to see all of you nonetheless. Vashti McNaught joining us from Canada. Deborah Sharona Lynch is here as well. And Perry James says, you watching from work. Some of y'all are the people working. But we happy here with we. Bernadette Duncan says she's joining us from Agricola. Agricola is in the house, up in the hizzer. Dawn Fraser's here as well. Karen Thorne and Ron Sultan and Conrad Adams says he's joining from Tortola, the British Virgin Islands. Tortola, the British Virgin Islands is in the house. Folks, y'all try there. I'd love to know what Christmas is like in some of these places. Guys, Friday, I want y'all call in and tell us how Christmas is going where you are. But today we have with us, we have Vince Roy Jordan. And we talked Vince Roy name yesterday. He was busy, couldn't join the podcast, but he's here with us today. And we're grateful for that. You name us in the ring, and we proper talking name yesterday. Folks, the weather where we are in Georgetown. I know our brother says the weather where he is there in New York is cold, cold, cold. It's 30 degrees in Georgetown, 30 degrees in the national capital city, and there's a 43% chance of rain up until 1 o'clock. And then in the afternoon, it gets even less. It's a 12% chance of rain this afternoon, but up until 1, there's a 43% chance of rain in the national capital city. Wherever you guys are joining us from, we are privileged you can be part of the podcast. And we chose a podcast format for the lunch hour because we know lots of you guys might be out, you're eating, you don't have the time really to look per se at the program, but you can listen in, you're on your job and all of that. You can put in your headphone and just listen to the itation. Folks, this is the weather where we are. Lots of nonsense happening. And that is why today we're discussing this whole theme of the destructive PPP and how they are breaking down, how they are dismantling and destroying the guardrails of our democracy. And one of the things we're going to be focusing on is this whole natural resource funds and the wickedness, this skullduggery, the corruption of the PPP as regards our national resource fund. And that is what we're going to be talking about predominantly today. We're going to be talking about some other issues as well, folks. For instance, we want to know how Vince Roy is doing, given he's just come out of this hectic campaign. And I see, Vince Roy, I told Chris yesterday, I said, Vince Roy, you like problems. I said, yeah, I see that you all are tied for vice chair of the PNCR. But since Vince Roy looks a lot like me, is my twin brother from a different mother, I am going to give Chris this thing. Vince Roy, welcome to the discussion. Welcome to the podcast Below the Belt. It's your first time, but I know it's not going to be your last. I tell you, it's not going to be your last. Me not asking you. Vince Roy, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Sherrod. Good afternoon. Thanks a lot, my brother. And good afternoon to your listeners.
Awesome.
And I'm happy to be here. This is my first time, my inaugural um, feature on your podcast
Yep.
show.
2 weeks.
So I'm happy to be here.
2 weeks, Vince Roy. 2 weeks of inaugurals. You were inaugurated yesterday, and then you've been inaugurated today again. 2 weeks of inaugurals. How does it feel? You had a fiercely fought contest that's behind us now, coming out of the 21st annual delegates Congress of the PNCR. How you feeling, Vince Roy? How you feeling?
Well, Sherrod, I'm feeling extremely happy. One of the things I must say, apart from how I'm feeling, it is now evident that the People's National Congress reform is a democratic party, and we stand by the word democracy. We
Well,
not only preach about it, but we
Vince Roy,
practice
let me go back.
democracy.
Let me take you back two steps because I know how these trenches and jagabats stay. It is not now evident. It is more evident. It is
More
more evident
correct.
because
It
they
is,
can jump
it
on
is
that and say,
more
"You see,
evident.
the member of parliament said they are now democratic, right?" Then
It
and
is
they're
more evident,
gonna more
right?
evident.
Because they've always been saying that the People's National Congress reform is known for rigging and the like. But as you said, it is more evident and clearly shows what we stand for in the People's National Congress reform. And if we can do that, practice that at home in the party, it definitely means that we can practice that when it comes to our national and regional elections. With that being said, Sherrod, um, I am extremely happy and satisfied that the delegates and the members of our great party would have seen it fit to elect me as vice chairperson of this party of ours. And so it gives me great pleasure and honor to say thank you to all of them for their support and putting their trust and confidence in me, and knowing that with training and with much more exposure to those who are experienced, I can do an excellent job to support the party and by extension the people of Guyana at large.
Yep. I'm certain you must be heartened, as you said, by all of this support because from 100 and many candidates who are vying for the Central Executive Committee and for the top spots too, you were very, very successful, at least from what I see here, at least a good number of them said they wanted Vince Roy Jordan. I think it was 351. You might be more accurate with the figure between yourself and Chris. I said they wanted yourself a vice chair of the People's National Congress Reform. Let me make sure I get that number. 381 to be precise. Yeah.
81, that's right.
Yeah. It said they wanted.
81.
So I'm certain you were very, very heartened by that. And this is from across the country.
Yes, right. So, it came predominantly from Region 5 and Region 4. Region 10 also supported me
Hmm.
in a great way. And so I'm extremely happy today, persons in those regions, those delegates who would have supported.
One can say, Vince Roy, bring out the bass. You bring out the bass. Vince Roy,
Well,
have yourself and Chris settled the tie or what format, or that's gonna be left to the party?
well, I can say this much, Sharon. Um, Being a member of the People's National Congress Reform, I've always trusted the good judgment of our leadership. And I know for sure that the leadership has a mechanism in place that they would use to bring satisfaction not only to the two persons who were tied, myself and my brother Christopher Jones, but also all other members and delegates of the People's National Congress Reform, and I know for sure those ordinary citizens looking forward to seeing, how this tie would be dealt with. I know that it will be good sense will prevail in the end, and I'm happy um, to say that from all indications, with the wisdom of our leaders, they will at some point in time give to the public what, but I know it's something good.
Fantastic. Vince, we saw quite recently the U.S. Embassy here in Georgetown said congratulations to the new leadership there, the PNCR, and to the leader, the new leader, Mr. Aubrey Compton Norton. What most you would say you are looking forward to in the days ahead, if not weeks and months ahead, in this new dispensation of the PNCR?
Well, Cheryl, I would want to say what I'm looking forward for is the unification of the party first and foremost. And from all indication yesterday, I think that is a stepping stone from our leader's statement, Mr. Norton, where we mentioned about Dr. Barnes Charles being an advisor and Comrade Balder Lawrence also assuming position as advisor. That shows that he believes in the inclusive management and leadership of our party. And I would want to see much more of that. And I know for sure with um, his wisdom, he will be able to bring this party together with us in that section of the leadership to, mold and tell those who might have been, a bit disappointed, disgruntled, and all of that. But what I want to see is all party groups and the national executive working together and ensuring the success of our party, not only for the unity among us, but also the victory at the next general and regional elections that will soon be had. And so, Cheryl, that is one thing I would want to see. And apart from that, I want to see the party return to its, glorious form where we energize the grassroots. And also, Mr. Norton would have also mentioned yesterday that um, we will be seeing very shortly, a buzz, a hype of activities taking place in and out of Congress Place. And so, the public can be reassured that they can come to Congress Place, they can return, to see their leaders, they can have moments and times when they can chat with them. I want to see the party just return to meeting the grassroots supporters. And once that is done, those are the two first things I want to see happen. And I know that will definitely strengthen the party. And apart from that, I know there are a lot of policies that I would want to see laid out and properly structured in our party so as to take us forward. But those will be left for when the principal officers and the central executive meet so as to, really trash that out. So I wouldn't want to venture into mentioning anything with regard to those policies and what I would like to see with regard to that. But definitely the two first that I would have mentioned are priority for me.
Fantastic. And those persons who are now joining us, as you join the podcast, why don't you share the live stream? Thanks for joining Below the Belt. This is our 17th podcast, folks. It's already December 21st. Christmas is on the horizon. But we're talking today about the destructive PPP and how they're destroying the guardrails of our democracy. And I'm happy to hear when Troy talked about the party coming together very, very swiftly so that we can push and get these people out of office. That is what political parties are supposed to be doing, and training our attention on that, getting these people out of office and turning our attention now to specifically that, Ventry. Oh God, when these guys can stop, it's like the more they get is the more they want. Now we're seeing, Vintroy, with the natural resource fund and how that fund should be governed. We see now there is no penalties for people who spend the money anyhow they want to spend it. They're setting the foundation for corruption. Now you want to tell me y'all gone, y'all want to get life sentences and all kind of people for infractions at GCOM, but where it comes to the money of the people, no penalties? Madness. Vince Roy?
Sherrod, look at this, Sherrod. I've always said over the years, even before becoming involved in national politics, I would have served in the local NDC for a number of years. And Sherrod, I can clearly say to you that for all I know of the PPP, they don't believe in transparency and accountability. It is very clear, it is evident that that is not one of the or two of their strong points. As a matter of fact, it is not a point that they even consider or put on the big option card to say that we will condone or we will practice. And so when you hear the likes of Barajatio and the others mentioning about transparency and accountability, you would find that they stay very far from speaking about how they will do it or whether they would want to practice it. They always be judgmental in their terms when it comes to that, speaking about what others would have done, but they never speak about what they will do or is presently doing. And so, Sherrod, with the removal of penalties with regards to how taxpayers' dollars are being spent on the natural resource fund and all that surrounds that, I want to say to you that it is their desire to not only steal the monies, but to enrich only those who are around them. And so, in order to set the ground for the easy access to those finances, the oil wealth, so to speak, they have to ensure that they put the systems in place that can help them to easily get off with whatever they do. And a thing about them is that they don't like others to benefit in any way. They don't like others to at rival with them, I would want to say in that way. They just like to ensure that they are the beneficiaries and the ordinary citizens of Guyana, they continue to suffer. And so it is important that we, as members of the National Assembly and the representatives of the people, call them out in these areas where we know for sure they cannot maintain the standards of accountability and transparency when it comes to the prudent management of the resources of the state, especially that of our financial resource. And so I know that the vice president is coming with the restructuring of how the sovereign wealth fund is being managed and access to that. And so we will definitely have to bring that to the public's attention when it comes to us being on the floor in the National Assembly and let them see all the calculations and management of the fund that was set up. As a matter of fact, it was set up in a unique way under the coalition where you had to get the approval of the National Assembly and all of that and oversight bodies and all these, responsible agencies. But now they're simply saying to us, well, listen, we don't want all these people to be looking at what we have to do. We just want to spend the money, and so we're going to just take it as we want, and then probably some other time later on we report. And as I said before, Sherrod, it is just opening or making it easy or giving themselves proper access to the funds of the oil wealth.
And Ventura, is not only they don't want the oversight, they don't even want the penalties. And I think it became so glaring just yesterday that these guys don't want any accountability. You rightly said, no transparency. This is how they govern, and we see institution after institution. You will see process after process where you have the guardrails, institutions that protect society, institution that gives checks and balances, that presents checks and balances to the executive. All of that they are dismantling. Either the commissions they are not operationalizing, where you have things like the environmental protection, the environmental impact assessments that they're waiving for so many of the big projects because they don't want that kind of scrutiny and oversight. Everything is a no-brainer. Or whether it is the inequity in which they are doling out taxpayers' dollars, you understand me, to supporters,
Right.
to the friends and families, to cronies, is corruption on a massive scale, Vintroy.
Right. And Cheryl, I'll tell you what. Just a few days ago, in Region 5 here, at the PPP Freedom House, the regional office, hundreds of supporters of the PPP receive millions of dollars in taxpayers' money. You understand? And for us to know who received these monies, why they received the monies, and what prompted them to do this distribution. Nothing of the sort has been released, has been published. We don't know clearly why the people actually received the money. But I personally saw the long lines and police officers guarding the area where the monies were stored and being distributed and all of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Sherrod, I tell you what, when they remove the penalties, and I know you can recall very clearly that our installed president,
President.
he he has 19 for charge, or had rather 19 for charges hanging over his head simply because he breached a lot of financial laws and so on, and mismanagement of state assets and all of that. Um, Apart from him, you know about the Honorable Ashley Singh. Sherrod, when they remove these penalties, it is them making way, like I said earlier, for their easy access to the treasury, and their way of saying that, listen, when I do these things, or when we do these things, there will not be any penalty that we have to suffer. So, they're clearing it, but I want to put them on notice, Sherrod, that the PPP will soon be out of office.
Yep.
And so,
Yep.
whatever they try now, we are taking note of it. Right? We're taking note of it. And with experienced people in the coalition, like my cousin Winston Jordan, we will get to them when we get back in government to deal with all the inaccuracies and mismanagement that they would have done with the state resources, and more so robbing the poor Guyanese of the wealth that they so deserve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You couldn't put it any better. It is time. It is 18 months too long. We got to see the backs of these folks. They should go. And what is tragic is that they just go out there as though all is well and normal, right? Smiling for the cameras and carrying on in their big vehicles and so forth, far away from the plight of the common man. While everything going up every single day, I'm certain you're hearing that people are being dismissed from their jobs every single day. As a matter of fact, Vince Roy, as a representative in 5 and 6 between that area there, we're being made to understand that some GPL workers are going to be sent off in the new year if they ain't gone off as yet. In the new year, oh, we got a windfall of money and we're firing people while west. Why? To bring on friends, family, and cronies. I don't know if you're hearing that at your end.
Yeah. Well, Shad, I'm happy that you raised that. This is the type of people that we have as a government. Very uncaring, reckless, and immature in all their ways. GPL has performed, or let me back up a bit. GPL would have improved under the coalition government in their performance, be it in power distribution, generation management, and transmission and the like. GPL, they would have improved tremendously. We saw a whole transformation of GPL in terms of being a state where we can count the amount of blackouts we get in a day, and it's so much within the week. So saying that I can't remember the last day we had blackout, and that was during the coalition reign. And since the PPP returned to office, we see blackouts again, generation problems again, transmission problems again,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
all the things that can happen to put us out of power. But apart from that, Sharon, the same company is saying to us that they don't need the experience and qualified staffers that are there presently. And I've received a number of complaints from not only Region 5 and Region 6, but even all the way on the East Coast along the fire distribution area and so on, where they're threatening the staff, that is the CEO, it is alleged, that come January morning, they will no longer have need for those staff within the transmission and distribution unit, and they will be employing contractors. How ridiculous is that, Sherrod? To know that you have permanent staff who will be responsible to the company and, would put out a higher level of work and all of that, better quality of work and so on, and have the customer focusedness so they will be readily available to look at all power outages and failures and so on. They now want to bring contractors who sometimes you gotta call for them. Sometimes they do some very poor work and you gotta go and get it redone and all these things. They want to send home these workers, and Sherrod, mind you, the workers that I'm speaking about, 90% of them, and if I can go as far as saying 95% of them, are Afro-Guyanese, young Afro-Guyanese men and a few women in between them. When you check out the supervisors, those who are within the crew, those who are along the linesmen and what you call them a GPS, the technicians, they are young African Guyanese. And so again, we see it is another way of the PPP ridding the public, private, and all the sectors of Guyana of African Guyanese who are entitled to a job to replace them with contractors who are not even qualified in some cases. And what is amazing about it also is that these very contractors will then have to um, contract some of these guys to work for them, but not that they only contract them, but they will pay them anything because you and I know that the Minister of Labor, he
Mm-hmm.
has no
Mm-hmm.
control over what the private sector does and how they
Polaricho.
pay the workers. And so, and Florijo, and so the workers might be working for a daily wage of let's say $5,000 now, and they will employ them in well because they will be out of a job, and they will pay them $2,000, and there will be no one to represent them because they work with a contractor who might very well happen to be the friend of the CEO or the friend of the Minister of Public Infrastructure, now Public Works. So I see some hardships at GPL and across Region 5, 6, and 4 come January, once they continue with that. And I think the union needs to take note of that and really be prepared to defend the cause of the workers.
Yep, yep, yep. Vintroy, these people, the our people, the public, the citizens of this country, I am happy that every day we're out there fighting on their behalf. That you're in Region 5, you straddle Region 6 as well with our brother, um, fighting for our people on the forefront. Um, but for them, it's friends and family, and it has always been just a little cabal. The people really and truly never benefit, and when they seem to be benefiting, it is for specific purposes. For instance, of keeping these jagabats and crooks and scamps in office. I heard at Fort Wellington Hospital a lot of foolishness happening there. A lot of foolishness again, how they are rigging the system. The system can't function properly because they have a whole host of incompetent, unprofessional people who should not be there at all. We heard government resources are being used to ferry. They have implanted their party hacks and crooks and vagabonds in there at Fort Wellington Hospital. I hope I'm getting the hospital right, if memory serves me correctly. A whole
Yes,
host of
for Trenton.
thievery and
You're correct.
scampishness. Well, it's obvious you're hearing the same things. It's obvious.
Yeah, yeah. You see, Sharon, they understand.
Fitzroy,
Hear me, Sharon?
go right ahead.
Oh, yes, yeah. I was saying that they fail to understand that you cannot put a square peg in a round hole. And it is not only the Fort Wellington Hospital, Sherrod, but it is also happening at the Hugo at Fort Wellington. The complaint is that we have um, an incompetent administrator and one that we would call a steward, they call it steward, um, who operates above and beyond the instructions of the regional health officer. And so you find that they would have, brought on their own people to do cooking, for example. And Sherrod staff and patients have been complaining. They even took photographs of the bake. 2 days they showed us the bake that is raw, and the salt fish and what was cooked to the bake. They showed us what it was like, Sherrod.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, the hospital lacks cleaning agent for a number of months now. A number of months, there's a great shortage of cleaning agents. Simple things like bleach, soap powder, simple things like Lysol, simple things like gloves. In some areas, we hear about not gloves, sorry, mask.
Yep.
And the hospital in general is dirty, coming not only from the staff but those who visit the hospital. They complain of it being, and this has nothing to do with the cleaners, Sherrod, but it has to do with the gross incompetence of the administrator who fails to provide any sort of materials for the cleaners to use and fail to provide stocks for the kitchen. And so the staff of the kitchen, they are also complaining that there is hardly anything for them to use. And a cook knows what they have to get, Sherrod. So how can a management staff come into the kitchen and tell the cook how to do their job? If I'm cooking, I know that I have to get X, Y, and Z ingredients. And so I will say to you, I need chow mein, I need, bora, I need chicken, I need flour, I need oil. You can't come and tell me you bring chow mein and oil and you need to get food to the patients. No, they got to supply what is the need of that department. And that is where they have been stifling. And I understand, Sherrod, that the stifling is simply because these people are in collaboration with the very suppliers of the be it materials or ingredients for the kitchen and materials for cleaning. They are in collusion with them to rig and rob the system. Right? They're taking it is alleged they're taking the monies and they're doing their own things with it, and then it is accounted for and recorded under the region spending. And so, Sherrod, that is the level that we're at with these people that are within the various sectors. And I mentioned about the Hugo Chavez Center. The residents there are complaining, Sherrod, and this is not only a day or two, it is for months they're complaining that the administrator is forcefully imposing upon the kitchen staff that they must cook with 2 pints of chana, some black eyed peas, and he brings salt. Salt is a big thing that he brings. And you find that the people don't have anything to cook, and so the residents are suffering. And when the residents complain about it, he then banned them from using the internet service. He bans their family from coming and speaking with them. because they will let the message go out. And he also the administrator at the Hugo Chavez Center. And I want the Honorable Vindhya Prasad to note that her installed administrator there is only running a rocket instead of serving the needs of the people who are at that homeless shelter. They are not looking forward for the benefit and the development of the people. They are trying to quickly fill their pockets so that they can move on and have a life, one that is nice and dandy, as we would say here in West Coast Bobby. They're just thinking about themselves. And so, Cheryl, you're right when you say that across this region at Fort Wellington Hospital, there are a lot of complaints with regards to the management and also the operation of the hospital in terms of what the patients have to eat on a daily basis. And it's sad, it is poor, it is sad to know that we have returned to such a state in such a short space of time.
What a wicked set of people. What a wicked set of people. This PPP cabal, these jagabats. What a wicked set of people. I want to harken back to an editorial out of Starbuck News just a couple days ago, early December, in which they described the PPP administration, Ventura, as a failure to launch a whole host of promises, but a whole host of stacking up failures, failure to launch. And in this editorial, and I always like to use somebody who is middle of the road and kind of independent, so they can't say, "Oh, it's a APNU AFC sympathizer or APNU AFC apologist." So this is Starbuck News, and Starbuck News said that in regard, they were talking about companies possibly coming to invest here and how they might view us. Companies carefully consider all risks. This is the editorial. Companies carefully consider all risk when making investment decisions, including political risk. In that regard, Guyana still remains a frontier territory, and it is the primary cause of our lack of economic progress since independence. Unfortunately, despite all the bluster of the past year about about a new Guyana, the political landscape remains remarkably unchanged. And I'm certain folks who are visiting from overseas can bear this out. It's unchanged. Public servants agitating for increases, extrajudicial killings, rising crime, accusations of an arson campaign, the encouragement of private and heavily armed security services, large drug busts for which no one is arrested, dodgy contract awards, and the ever present chronic political dysfunction and racially based discord. It is eerily reminiscent of the early 2000s, although thankfully not at phantom gang level quite yet. This is Starbuck News. This is Starbuck News.
But,
Jesus.
Cheryl,
Father.
it has all been listed there. And the failures of the PPP cannot go unnoticed, Cheryl. When we look across this country from the way they deal with public servants, oh my God, it is ridiculous. When we look at the public
7%?
sector and the health sector, yes, 7%. And the thing about it, Cheryl, they have not received anything for 2020. And now we're coming in 2021 to say, listen, I'm giving you a meager 7%. And then they have the balls to say that the 7% is far more. Look, Cheryl, I got to laugh sometimes. The 7% is far more than what the coalition would have given to us. I mean, people are. Sometimes I wonder if the people that speak sometimes live in the same country that we are living
Ventura, they
in.
got to know we big, but we stupid.
We are stupid. Because over 5 years we would have taxed 77%, onto the salaries of the ordinary public servants. I can recall the very first year in office when His Excellency President David Granger and our finance minister released um, the increases. Our minimum wage moved by over 30%, I think it was, just about. And
Correct.
to
Correct.
know public servant was working for just about $38,000 at an average, and or 42 within that range, and then started to work for over $55,000, speaks of great progress, Sherrod.
Mm-hmm.
But you see,
Mm-hmm.
they are not interested in the development of our people, but they are interested in merely achieving their narrow political agenda. And I'll tell you why. Because they're failing in all the other areas: infrastructure, healthcare services, police, security and crime control. They're failing tremendously in that. But yet for all, they can ensure that they properly manage the way they give to Gaisuko and the sugar workers who are dismissed a severance package to ensure that it becomes successful. They ensure that they not only do that, but they give to Gaisuko every single time we go to Parliament, actually, uh, billions of dollars, which is now far over 10 billion, 12 billion thereabouts. And also, they would have ensured that just about 24 hours ago, I think I heard of it, that the vice president said that guys would also receive 7%. No, Sharon, I don't have a problem with guys, sugar workers receiving 7% because the people will benefit, you know. But the
Correct.
thing
Correct.
about it is when they use it in their political manner, when the Minister of Agriculture could have stood on the floor of the National Assembly, that August House, to say to us that he and his ministry and his government ensure that they give to those seven workers $250,000, which is $250,000 tax free, so as to fulfill a simple election campaign promise. Sharon, they also promised the public servants 50% increase. And I believe public servants should start drawing the line in the sand where these things are concerned. They
Vincent, the
promised
people,
the sugar workers to
Vince Roy, the
give
people
them.
said that it was Photoshop. It was Photoshop.
It was Photoshop. But apart from that, they promised health care. They promised free education. Probably that too was Photoshop at the
Mm-hmm.
University of Guyana.
Mm-hmm.
They promised better infrastructure,
Low
and the infrastructure
crime.
that we're receiving now in terms of roads and all of that, check Silvertongue, Linden, and Amelia's Ward and all those places, the quality of roads that they're building. Come to Region 5 and see the sugar cake patchwork that they're doing. And then also they spoke about crime and all of that. But what about Sherrod? What I know is that from the time Ben was installed as Minister of Public Security, I had very little expectation. I understood that that would have gone anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't really beat up on the people for that because I know for sure if it is Ben, it will be the worst,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So I'm saying that they are only doing what they see, what they know can achieve for them some political mileage. But while they're doing that, they are shooting themselves in the foot because they're doing a great injustice and disservice to the other citizens of this country of ours. And a day and time will come when the citizens will say to them with a ballot that is very, very much important that we don't need you anymore. You have proven to be bad for Guyana before, and you have shown again that you're bad for Guyana, and we don't need you anymore.
Yep, yep. Agree with all that you've said. I'm watching here one of the local newspapers, and it says that petition lodged with Parliament for the deferral of the debate on the National Resource Fund bill, and this is coming out of a group called Policy Forum Guyana, asking Parliament to defer this debate because they know any sensible person being kept up to date with what's happening with this bill, this national, this national resource fund bill, understand what the PP are trying to do. They understand it all too acutely. Somebody's trying to call him, but we wouldn't take that. They understand the purgatory, the confusion powder, the scampishness, the vagabondism this PPP is trying to perpetuate on this country. And again, you know, when we think about rigging, we only think about elections, right? And we know they're good with rigging.
Mm-hmm.
We know who named the Carlin police, goes to the ID card sharing out. We know Gokul Bodu and what he tried to do In I think it was 1997, or was it even more recent? That no, it's 2010 rather. That election there, 2011. All right, what they tried to do there, and the astute and vigilant Vincent Alexander was on the ball there. But in
Yes,
every sector and segment of society, they are rigging the system. That's why they put Vishnu Prasad in there.
exactly.
You understand me? That is why you got what happening at Fort Wellington and at Hugo Chavez happening there. That is why at the Ministry of Education book distribution, they're moving all people and putting their own people. They're rigging the system. Rigging is not only elections, is when you are setting an environment, right, where the processes and systems will only benefit you and yours. That is why you have
Exactly.
that happening
Exactly.
throughout the length and breadth of this country, Vince Roy.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And Sherrod, you mentioned about Gokul Bodu, and it was not only 2011, but also in 2006, I think it was, when as a matter, it is the nature of the PPP and those who are
Yep.
aligned with them.
The nature of the
When he took
catfish.
the seat from, right, one seat from the, I think it was the Alliance for Change, and
Mm-hmm.
gave it to the PPP.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back in 2011 when they had the minority government, and he then tried to take away the votes that were awarded to the coalition then, to give it to the PPP. And it was out of the wisdom and careful oversight of Mr. Vincent Alexander that he saw what was being perpetuated on the people of Guyana, the injustice in the Guyana Elections Commission, being the man of the chief elections officer. And he raised the alarm, and that is how it was fixed. And they eventually became an what we call it, minority government.
Yep. Yep. As they deserve to be. And worse than that, they deserve to be out of office and
Well,
give the Guyanese people a
out of
damn break.
office. That's right.
One set of
You know,
nonsense, Vince Roy,
but
on every front. Go right ahead. Sorry about that.
but I'll say it again, Sherrod. The PPP needs to mark every word that we say and take it into keen consideration. The Guyanese people will deal with them severely when it comes to the next general and regional election.
And that is why
Because
that
the
is why they're
PPP,
delaying local government. They know the beat down
that
that
is
coming.
they know for a fact. As a matter of fact, let me tell you, Sherrod, in Region 5 here, the PPP, we have 10 NDCs, and the PPP controls 4 out of those 10 NDCs, and we control 6. And the PPP knows fully well that when they're coming up against us in another local government election, they will be beaten much more severely in terms of seating and all of that on those local authorities in this region. And so they have already looked at it and calculated their defeat, the percentage of defeat. And so the analysts say, hey, too many disgruntled, too many affected, too many people that are dissatisfied with us. So we're gonna do it now. We're gonna do it at the time when we bribe them enough, when we bring enough to the sugar workers, and when we bring back something to the people in Bath settlements, and when we carry some things to those in Bush, and how they normally do it. When we feed them enough, when we put try to fool them. But I want to say to them, Sherrod, the young generation that we're in, or those younger people that are living among us today and are persons registered to vote, and with a new voters list, I am telling you, Sherrod, they will be in for big trouble.
These guys ain't done it, as we said, in every segment of society, they're rigging the system. The nature of the catfish. It is the nature of the catfish. And Vincent, who listening to us, know that. Delong Gravesandi knows that. Renee Mackenzie Talbot, who listening to us, they know that. It's the nature of the catfish. Adam Passant knows that. Darrell Cambridge knows that. Listen, Vince Roy, say what people want to say. We were on a trajectory from 2015 of upness.
That's right.
On a trajectory. Listen to me, we didn't do everything right. You understand me? Granger had his own faults. All the ministers had their own faults, but to God, we were heading somewhere. National pride restored. And as you said, Vincent, right here, you have said year after year for 5 consecutive years, we were increasing the wages and salaries of public servant, standard of living was looking nice. You understand me? It was nice
That's
time.
right.
It was a nice time. Look where we there
Yes.
now. 18 short months after. These people can't even manage a little carnage up. His whole country they can manage.
Well, that is the PPP. But Sherrod, I'll tell you what. Um, it is clear to all Guyanese that the PPP cannot manage a country. And so it is only a matter of time that Guyanese will make their decision, or the decisions rather. And like you said just now, from 2015 to 2020, you could have seen growth on that upward trajectory. And in just a short space of a year, or even before the year, 1 year would have reached, we saw declines in moral standards. We saw declines in security, the security sector.
Mm-hmm.
We saw decline in the health sector. We saw decline. Well, don't talk about education. Even though we had COVID and people were not going to school, the education sector, it was like a mess, Sherrod. When we saw in the agricultural sector, with the little flood that came, Sherrod, we saw how PPP ran helter skelter, like headless chickens across this country to put simple systems in place like drainage. And in the midst of the flood, we had a minister speaking about drainage, and we don't need irrigation at that. We need drainage.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
minister was so confused. He was looking at areas where they're trying to, but where the people army put water back onto the land and confused. And in Region 6, it was a cycle or a circle. They pumping the water from Port Morant and the water raising up in another
Yep,
section
yep, yep,
of
yep,
Region 6.
yep.
And, Sharon, it is clear to the people that the PPP cannot manage this
Mm-hmm.
country. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm saying again, the
Mm-hmm.
Guyanese will make their decision, and that will be very short.
Yep. And you know what is also clear, Vince Roy? That every project they're running with right now is projects that are being carried over from the APNU AFC government.
But it was working
Every
under the coalition.
damn
But
project. And they're so barefaced, but that's the nature of a catfish. So barefaced, they come and cut him ribbon big, 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 big. You understand me? They can't even pack a damn bus to carry little ties up the highway. You understand me? Half left into according to them, and they want to manage the whole country. Yeah, but that is the nature of the people, the wicked, stink, and dirty. The nature of the catfish. The nature.
yeah, the
uh,
full nature, you know.
Vince Roy, we cannot forget the season. Irrespective of what these guys doing, we gotta do what we gotta do because we run things. Things don't run we. And we know, I just wanna
That's right.
know, the people still gotta live and we still gotta be with our people at this time and try to eke out a living and try to celebrate this season and remember the reason for the season as well. We
For
know
this
that
season.
things tight, Vince Roy. Things tight in this country, my brother. Things
But
tight, pal. But we're still gonna try to have
Sheriff,
some semblance of Christmas. Vince Roy.
I would want to say to my Guyanese brothers and sisters, Christmas comes but just once a year.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But the important thing about Christmas is remembering that Jesus came into this world. It's a celebration of the
mm-hmm,
birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And
mm-hmm,
so Christmas with all the niceties without Christ, or Christmas without Christ, is as wasting time.
mm-hmm,
And so I would say to people, take this time to reflect on the birth of our Lord and Savior, the
mm-hmm,
Messiah that came to save all mankind. And whilst you do that, like my grandmother used to say, you might have some curtains that you used last year,
mm-hmm.
or you might have, a carpet that you put in the back room because you say, you know what, I ain't gonna use this one this year because it didn't match the curtains from last year. So I would want to say to them, just wash it and chew it clean, bring that carpet out,
Mm-hmm.
and use the same flowers that you might have had that were put away from another year. Put them out. Clean the house nice and set yourself. Ensure that you have food on the table for the children. Ensure that the husband is properly taken care of.
Yes, yes,
Husbands,
I agree
ensure
with you
that your
on that
wives
last
are
note,
properly
man. Yes,
taken care
yes.
of. And and parents ensure that your children, that you can put a smile on their face whether it's a toy or two. But the most important thing is to remember the reason for the
Mm-hmm.
season. And don't go about shopping and dropping and trying to meet with every competition of the season,
Mm-hmm.
because with the 7%, you're in no position to compete with nobody. And the hardships and the inflation of 14% in prices across this country on ordinary commodity shares, nobody in Guyana is in any position besides the PPP and the cabal to spend big and shop until they drop in this season. So I urge Guyanese, act and act wisely this Christmas. Let's hold the strain. A bright Christmas will soon come.
Yep, yep, yep. We were saying here the other day, we saw on social media, a woman said, you got to pull out one of them curtains you were able to buy under Granger government. You can't do it now. Everything gone up,
Yeah, you you make me laugh, shirt. I bought curtains. Well, my wife, well, she bought curtains every year under the Granger government. And we intend this year to pull out one of the Granger government curtains and use it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This thing here,
You
you
know,
got watching Christmas now sideways because I don't know. You got Christmas coming up. People love the pepper pot, but you mightn't get the quota of bread that you're accustomed to because bread price gone up. Everything gone up. You understand me? In this country,
and
everything gone up. I see now.
and then and then beef is Mr. Beef.
Mr. Beef. You understand me? I watched Beef and I saluting, right? Last year, Christmas, I saw Irfan in a fancy kitchen cook up in a decent pot. This year, like they sell the house, the man there. Man had a big cannery. A big cannery now, some part
and
of the globe cooking, cook up. Things tight
and firewood,
and
firewood.
firewood. You understand me? It's back to basics in this place. It's back to basics. But I know you said it right. Look, every person the persons who are knowledgeable, competent in these economic issues see things are only going to get worse. Things are only going to get worse. And on this program, we say we going below the belt. Folks, you got to tighten the belt. Tighten the belt. Don't spend unnecessarily. Do not spend unnecessarily. You understand me? Get into the new year with some
Right,
money in your pocket. Things tight.
right.
That is where we are. Things tight. That being said, folks, we almost at program time. We almost at program time. But Vince, I wanted to get from you as we run Christmas. I wanted to get from you, Vince Roy. What I think I may have lost Vince Roy there, but I wanted to let me see if I get him back in studio. I wanted to know what makes Christmas special in Region 5. What makes Christmas special in Region 5? My wife is from Region 5, right? Beautiful girl. I'm telling you, a Barbie's girl could change your whole life, right? A Barbie's girl can change your whole life. uh, Vince Roy, I was telling our listeners that my wife is from Region 5. And so good people come from Region 5.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah. Good people.
a Barbie's
We,
girl
we,
could
we
change your
have the
life.
best. We have the best energy to fight, Sherrod.
Right? A Barbie's girl could change your whole life. You hear me telling you? My life was going down a certain path. Aimlessness and wandering and so like a PPP, like a chagabat. But that girl that changed my whole life, I tell you. What makes Christmas in Region 5 special? For those persons who might be coming home, who might be home, they want to take a walk somewhere. I see them boys telling me here, no parties for COVID, no parties for Christmas, no social events and so on. But they getting big party. I see Ravi V in Region 5 with a big party. So this is for some people in this
Well,
one Guyana. This is for some people. Vince Roy.
yeah, well, Sherrod, I would want to put this over in the simplest way that I can. First, let me answer about what makes Christmas in Region 5 special. Christmas in Region 5 basically is about the family. It is about us going to the market, doing our little shopping, enjoying the carols being played. Some churches will do their little carolings along the road. Enjoying the family time with those who would have
Mhm.
come from overseas and they come in, and then, when you walk with them in the shop, they would stand the bill and those kind of things. So all that makes Christmas even bright. And the Christmas Eve night is when, family would join together, and friends will meet, and then they will
Mm-hmm.
hang out at a particular spot, and they will,
Rosignol,
reflect,
Rosignol,
and some
Rosignol,
might
name calling.
rock it and all, and yeah, and some might imbibe, and it's different for some. But all in all, Christmas is in Region Five. It's very localized. We stick to our own, little tradition here. The
Mm-hmm.
cooking and so on. And then on Christmas Day, you would find families being in, and then you'll find, if you're living close, like we are here, three, four houses will come together, and they gonna somebody playing the music, and I enjoy my neighbor music, and my neighbor enjoy, and I send over some food. That is how
Mm-hmm.
Christmas in
Mm-hmm.
Region Five really is. Simple thing, and then somebody might kill a cow, and they send some beef around, and so it's just our local way of doing it.
And
But Sherrod,
talking about that, Vincroy, a brother there sent some beef for me from Region Five, and I know also, Vincroy, good black cake come from Region Five, and I'm telling you, good cakes in general. And
yeah,
I'm a cake specialist, but I I know
yeah,
a good black cake.
yeah, we have some of the
Good
best
cakes
black
come
cake
from
here in Region 5.
Region Five, but black cake, oh my lord. Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and while we're on it, I can say to some people, those who during the season you have your little parties, your little get together. We have Amanda's pastry and food outlet in number 13 Village, Westwood, Bobby. Just you need anything, supply, you just check her out. She can get whatever you want in the range of cake, whatever
Mm-hmm.
food, whatever dish you so desire. Then we have in Hope Town the famous Gusto Shop Remel. He does the pastry well there also, and he does the broth well, the ice cream and so on. All the range of pastries you can find there at Amanda and Remel. And so I want to say to those in Westwood, so those passing through Region 5, don't be afraid to stop and shop. Then in Rosette now we have people that provide a wide variety of dishes also. Don't be afraid, just stop in and get what you need there. Those who are shopping in terms of grocery items and you want to get everything at one place, we have Nardika supermarket right there in Hoopsong Village, on the Leaning, directly just by the gas station. You can stop at Nardika and get all that you need for this Christmas in one place. And then if you're in the other part of Region 5, which is on the east coast of them, but is Region 5, my Pony district, you can stop at K&K supermarket there in Myconi line top,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can get everything just as you cross the bridge about 1 km or so over the bridge. You can get everything right here at K&K. Um, but Sharon, permit me to complete the question where you asked,
Go right
or you
ahead.
mentioned rather about the celebrations to Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not see the news article, but I want to say, Sherrod, if you speak about one Guyana, you must respect everybody's religion and their time of celebration. I understand COVID. I respect the COVID guidelines, and I do would advise citizens to also, maintain and for our safety and for the safety of our family to observe those guidelines. But when you're going to say no, and then at Pago you say yes, and then at other holidays you say yes, and or you just don't say anything, well then you're being double standard. And so I want to say to the government and those who crafted those, you know, guidelines and or the rules that they just laid out about no parties and so on. Respect our wishes to celebrate Christmas, because we will celebrate Christmas, be it that you want us to celebrate it or not. We will celebrate our Christmas holidays.
Fantastic, fantastic. Vincent, I want to thank you for spending this time with us. We've gone a little over program time, if my calculation is right. But we can't exhaust this topic, and we're going to be talking more about it, about the destructive PPP and how they're destroying the guardrails of our democracy. Even Christmas time, them people are resting, You understand me? They ain't resting. You think they get time with cake and
Yeah,
black cake and all that? The whole cook up nonsense. That's just for sure. Right? Them people interested in cake over there. You see some of them, they're interested in cake, much more black cake. Right? Much more black cake. If they were interested in Christmas, they would never be treating the Guyanese people the way they treated them.
exactly, exactly.
That being said,
Right.
Vince Roy and the duly elected Vice Chair there of the PNCR. I want to thank you for your time, my brother. I want to thank you for your time. And I want to wish you and your family all the very best for the season.
It's always a pleasure, and same to you and your family, and to all Guyanese. I want to say a very Merry Christmas to you all, and do enjoy the best of the season. God bless.
Awesome. Thanks again, Vince Roy. Guys, and that's our
Thank you.
time this afternoon. That's our time. That's our program. So we were so privileged to have the Member of Parliament, Vince Roy Jordan, who is now elected vice chair, one of the vice chairs there, the PNCR. We're going to see how that tie goes between himself and Christopher Jones. Three to one votes each. And some mechanism has to be used to break that tie. And I know these are good guys, and any one of them they're going to serve well in that post, or both of them. Folks, I tell you, good black cake comes from Region 5. Why do you think I marry a girl from Barbies, and in particular from Region 5? Yeah? I'm a cake specialist. I know cake when I eat it. Good black cake comes from Region 5. Good black cake. Colin Barnwell, good to see you there. Brenda Braffett, good to see you out there. Tina Chung, good to see you, Tina. Below the belt. I know this is you lines, Tina Chung. I know it's your lines. Hoof X, lose. Hoof X, X. Shelly Douglas Williams, we see you out there. Kim Walker, Malika, is it Malika? Michaela Webster, Margaret Nelson, Margaret Nelson. Good to see you, Marcia Blair, Brenda, is it Toharali? Brenda Toharali. Fancy names. Yolanda, Pinky Vaughan, Rennie Mackenzie Talbot. Good to see each and every one of you. Rennie Mackenzie Talbot says that Christmas is about Jesus. Christ is not shopping. Claire Alexis Charmley Richmond. Good to see you as well. Colin Barnwell, Kim Walker, Double 8PH. Double It PH, all kind of fancy names on social media. Adam Passard. Good to see you, Adam. Cecile Ogle, Cecile. Good to see you, Cecile. Romish Passard. Romish fighting in the comments there. Good to see you, Romish. Simone Kelman, Washington, Sandrine Baird. Good to see all of you guys. You make the podcast, you make the programs what they are. And we are so privileged to have each and every one of you. We hope Christmas is shaping up nice for y'all, in spite of things being tight. We hope Christmas shaping up nice. It's been a privilege having all of you guys. Guys, we can't do this without you. Come on board and partner with Abina. Come on board, folks, and partner with us. And we've been, as an affiliate program of the In the Ring production, as an affiliate program, we use all of their platforms. And so at the Cash App, it's $sign in the ring 592. At the Cash App, it's $sign in the ring 592. At PayPal, it's in the ring 592. It's in the ring 592 at gmail.com. In the ring 592 at gmail.com. At the MMG, that's the local Cash App, the GT&T Cash App. At that platform is 627-6963. That's our number, 627-6963. And we're also available at MoneyGram. And we're also available at Western Union. Shout out to all the CSRs there at MoneyGram and Western Union. Some of our favorite people in the world. Some of our favorite people in the universe. The folks down at Western Union and MoneyGram. Send some money our way. Guys, we love you. We hope that you guys are planning to have a fantastic Christmas in spite of you get your 7% or not. You got life, you got health. Oh, God. That is wealth right there. That is wealth right there. Thanks for joining us, each and every one of you. Kim Walker, Ingrid Rahaman, Romesh Prasad, Adam Prasad. All the Prasads come out today. Good to see all of you guys. Stay safe wherever you are. You guys make the program what they are. If you think it's special, it's because of you, it's not me. It's not us. It's not we. But we out here. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining Below the Belt. Who vex? See you all in the ring at 8. Thanks for joining Below the Belt, guys. Who vex? Lose. That's our program for today. Stay well. Stay well. I said stay well. We gone.